she said she would have representation. Is that Ms. Swinton?
Yes, I'm on here. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We don't have much on the agenda tonight. Just a quick discussion about where we are with all of our committee assignments. And we'll try to hear from each committee, the Grant Selection Committee, Oversight, Public Relations, Needs Assessment, and of course, our legislative branch. We can start with Kimberly. Kimberly, we were supposed to meet with Miss Brown. We were discussing the idea of going virtual with our reports. Did you do that? I just completely forgot that meeting. Did that take place?
It did. Brian and I were there, and they walked us through the portal and kind of what the plans would be from a tech perspective. We asked questions. Ryan asked some great questions. I think it was pretty straightforward. There weren't any actions that came out of it for us. I took it to be informational. Ryan definitely let me know, if you thought otherwise or felt otherwise, but it was a good meeting, and I think there'll certainly be more to come. But I think with what they designed, from a portal perspective, it was pretty straightforward.
Well, it just depends on that's your baby. If you think that's a good thing for us to do, I would rely completely on your decision to make that call. So
yeah, I didn't have any concerns. I have a tech background, so I know stuff like that is kind of self-intuitive. So I would want to make sure from a community perspective that, it's easy for folks to understand and be able to navigate and get through. It seemed like they were taking the necessary steps from a training perspective to do that. So I'll continue to keep you posted, but I don't have any concerns on my end.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Now we have the Oversight Committee, Dr. Latimore and Takeisha Walker. I'm sorry, go ahead, Kimberly.
I'm sorry, I just have one other thing. I did get a request from the county to provide, I was trying to pull it up just so I could talk to it while I was here. But it's to provide the scoring sheets for a couple of the grants. I think it's 3 or 4 of them that they've asked me for. So I think one's from 2019, a couple are from 2020, and maybe one from 21. But so I did get that action. I'll copy you on my response, Pastor Robinson. I think they're probably just looking at some things a little bit further. And to the grant committee, if I need your scoring sheets for those, I'll let you know. I know that Toye sent me hers. She sent me all of hers, but I'm not sure I have everyone else's. So I'll keep you posted on that for the ones from 2021. So just an FYI for everyone.
Okay, Dr. Paler, good to see you. I owe you all kinds of apologies. I haven't reached out to you. Last time I talked to you, you were so busy giving up COVID shots. I was scared to call you anymore. I just thought I was intruding on your time, and I figured, with the role that you would be playing along with Kevin, I didn't need to bother you right now or right away, since we the things that you guys will be doing, we'll be going into next year with as far as needs assessment. So, and I'll just make that as a segue into where Kevin, yourself, Dr. Paler, and Senator Patterson, you can go ahead. I'm jumping over just to get to you so we can go from there. But please apologize. I apologize, Dr. Paler, for not reaching you. I just, after I talked to you, I was scared to call you anymore. You were really busy, and I just didn't think it would be necessary for me to bother you at that point. It just wasn't so important to do that. So we'll get started, and of course, Kevin is hitting things up. You got the backup hitter and Senator Patterson, and so we'll get things going here. But I'm glad to see you. Thank you for
happy to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Kevin.
Right, Roger, appreciate that. I didn't get after good evening, everyone. So I did have a good conversation with Senator Patterson. We did set up a meeting for next week where we will start putting together some of the meat and the potatoes of this committee so we can move forward. I did reach out to Dr. Taylor. So you do got a voicemail from me on your phone. So just give me a shout back when you get a chance. But we're gonna meet next week, and so hopefully at this next meeting next month we have a good report for the team that will showcase our steps forward for the committee.
Okay, Kevin, the creation on this committee is of course to try to eliminate the grants coming into to the 3 mile radius, the impact area, to kind of eliminate them telling us what they want to give us, and so that we can kind of put it out there and get it out there as to the type of needs that we really need in the community. So if any of you have any ideas that you think would be appropriate, please push those to Kevin as far as needs in the community is concerned. I think we need to really push for what the true needs are in the community, rather than having organizations come in and tell us what they want to give us as far as services are concerned. So we're hoping to be able to eliminate some of that and pinpoint the types of needs that we really should be seeing in the impact zone. Thank you, Kevin. Yes.
Has there been any type of assessment done by the county's office? Are we working on something, working based on information that's being collected, or has it been collected?
Yeah, go ahead. I asked that question of Walter Simmons, who is we opened the job center yesterday, and Walter, we talked for a long time last year, and they had actually done a needs assessment in the 3 mile radius. And I was trying to get a copy of that from him. I think I'm not sure, he may have sent it to me. And if I do have it, Kevin, I'll ship it to you. But I talked to him about that. And I think that there was already a needs assessment done with respect to the job center and what kind of things that they want to see. I don't know if that really matches what we are trying to do, and perhaps something like home visits or transportation, or food delivery, those kind of things. I don't think his took that into consideration. So I'll try to get that question answered for you, Takeisha. But I think the needs assessment that they did was just a little different than what we, I think it's just, we need something a bit more expansive than that.
And I can shoot you an email, but I'm wondering, I don't know if this would be helpful, but I think it's the American Community Impact Survey that is linked to census data could help to glean something in terms of demographics and needs and that kind of thing. But I can shoot you an email of the exact name of it.
Yeah, if you can send that to Kevin, that I'm sure that would be quite useful. Thank you. Dr. Latimore in the Oversight Committee.
Good afternoon, evening. It's been a long day. In regards to the Oversight Committee, Takeisha and I received 9 final reports. So this was our first time reviewing the final reports, and I must say it was rewarding. We learned a lot. We picked up on a lot of nuggets that maybe next year that we can incorporate into the template for the reports. Takeisha and I came up with a template that we utilize to rate or review some of the final reports. And without mentioning any grantees' names, we reviewed each report. We broke them up. I took 5, Takeisha took 4, and we read through the final reports from all the awardees, and we looked for things such as, is the money being used for the purpose that it was given for? Is it being used within the 5 mile radius? For example, one report stated Potomac, Maryland. So I don't know if that was a typo or if we need to dig further into that. We'll talk to Pastor Robinson offline about that. we looked at, did COVID-19 really affect a lot of these programs that the awardees had developed? And it seemed like that was the main issue with a lot of them. It was COVID-19. However, most of these programs were done online. So I had a hard time trying to understand, once the schools opened back up, why weren't these programs moving forward? Because at that point, if it's virtual COVID-19, you really can't defer to COVID-19 if that's what your program is for, if it was virtual. So the reports in the overall assessment from my viewpoint, and I'm going to let Takeisha provide her output as to what she found in the reports. A lot of the reports and the awardees did not provide or give the final report the proper time and opportunity to write a good report. Most of the reports were poorly written. As a county, we provide a significant amount of money to the grantees, and I would think that they would at least take a little bit of that money and invest it into report writing for grants, or responding and telling us what they did with the money. Some had no metrics. For example, one grantee did a program where they fed the homeless, and they had metrics, they had statistics, they had dates, they had places where they fed people. So it kind of made me feel like nobody went hungry, at least for the entire time that they were doing this for the last year. So their metrics could not give us a defined definition on how it met the community needs. One grantee is returning some money, so I think that we need to look at that. And in the federal government, when you return money, you lose it at the end of the fiscal year. But I understand the county works on, I think it's a county year, like January through December. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've never worked for the county, but that money in the government is lost. And I think that had this grantee told us earlier that they would be returning some of those funds, we could have used that money and had it impact somewhere else in the county, versus waiting until the final report to say I'm returning $7,900. To me, that's a lot of money that we could have used somewhere else in the county. And I don't know who contacts them and asks them for the funds back. We looked at the financials, which was a great piece of work, because it allowed us to see where their money went and what they spent it on. And for one grantee, a lot of it was spent on consulting, but you had a virtual program. So I don't know how much consulting you really need to do to execute a program. I consult every day down at the FBI, but I don't, there's some type of an output that you have to have. And there was no output. It was just straight consulting. And that's not what the purpose of the funds were given to the grantee for. So other than, the poor writing and not mapping it back to how it's going to impact the community and their financials, I think that going forward, Takeisha and I, we need to pretty much do the same for the interim reports or quarterly reports that come in, to make sure that everyone is doing exactly what they say they were going to do on the paperwork. Look at their financials and try to gauge if they're halfway through the funds, if they're midway through the funds, and if we foresee any of those funds coming back. And maybe at that time during that year, we can see if any of that money can be given back to the county, so that we can help other constituents in other areas. I do think that we need to really focus on that 5-mile radius, that it is within the radius, 3-mile radius that it is within that area. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Takeisha. And I would like to thank you on behalf of Takeisha and I for allowing us to do this. I thoroughly enjoyed the process, and I enjoyed more and understood more about the programs that were out there.
Just before Lakeisha starts, I think it's the pressure of oversight which is creating this. If the person that wants to, or the organization that's giving back the money, if you remember, I tried reaching out to them on several different occasions. It was I that was calling them, and they kept coming up with excuses, wanting extensions and those kind of things. But I think it's just the pressure of now understanding that you have oversight on what you're doing with this money, which is why that money is coming back. Now, as far as losing the money is concerned, I don't think we lose that money. I think it goes back into the pot the same way we did with the unspent portion of the monies that we had left over. We found out from Takeisha and Amber that money rolls over. So I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, I don't think we lose that money. I think it just rolls over to next year.
That's correct.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, go ahead, Takeisha.
Sorry, I don't want to prolong or belabor this, but I 100% agree with everything that Dr. Latimore just sort of listed off in terms of problems, and would love to be able to work with. I know Rashida has a committee that will be doing and working to do more of the outreach for the next year's grantees, Kevin's committee, and Kimberly, to ensure that we really clearly define some outcomes and some impact that we want them to speak to, and also just broaden the reach of organizations that apply for these grant applications. Because as Dr. Latimore mentioned, just participating in the review process for new grantees and then the oversight committee, these are grantees who've gotten money year after year. So I can't imagine that their reports and their outcomes have been any better prior to us joining this committee.
Okay. Also, Dr. Latimore, you mentioned, what'd you say, nine?
Yes, sir. 9 reports, final
Okay.
reports.
Kimberly, didn't we award the 12 last year? Because if that's the case, we're missing 2.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get off of mute. I thought it was 11. Let me confirm.
I can't remember. I thought it may be 11. I know it was more than 9.
It was more than 9.
Yeah. So we need to find that 1 or 2 that has dropped through the cracks. While you're looking that up, Kimberly, we'll go ahead and ask Rashida if she will come in and update us on the LDC website and that kind of thing, the things that she's doing.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I just have a quick update for those who may not be aware. The short-term history for the Public Relations Committee. We've met, I think, twice over the summer timeframe, June, July, and we came together and just kind of brainstormed of some of the things that we thought would be beneficial, some ideas for public relation and community outreach. As a result of our last meeting, I had a few questions that I connected with Ryan on over the summer, more specifically questions that we need to head up to the county's legal department. For example, social media, we wanted to understand protocol or guidance with using those various social media platforms. Additional, we wanted to understand the roles for the website usage and the administration of it. I will need to follow back up with Ryan. Ryan, I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to connect with the legal department regarding the LDC's use of social media, but I will connect with you, if not later this week, early next week, so that we can possibly get some guidance on how to move forward. And that's also actually email usage. I know that the LDC has an email. I did have a question on who has access to that. we want to make sure that the LDC, that we have input or follow the appropriate protocols for responding, checking, uploading content on the website as well as social media. So I will follow up with Ryan to try to get some answers and update you all next month.
Okay, yeah. Okay, anybody got any comments on that? Before we go any further, we've got the legislative branch, of course. Ms. Brown, how are you this evening? Do you have anything that you'd like to add in with us?
Hi, thank you for asking. Good evening, everyone. No, everything sounds really, really good. I was listening to some of the comments with the reviews, definitely concur with some of the challenges that we have experienced on our end with some of our community partnership grants. We do try to direct some nonprofits who don't have strong writing skills but are doing good work to some different programming where they can get some support. So if in your reviews you're finding that the nonprofits maybe not don't have like a strong writer on staff, but their outcomes are strong or they're showing progress, give us a call and we can see if we can help them strengthen their capacity in terms of grant writing, fiduciary duty, and some governance courses that we have access to. So I just wanted to share that with you because we want to make sure that we're doing, all the resources that we have, we're making it available to our nonprofits so they can really put their best foot forward.
Okay. Also, Prince George's nonprofit, I've been trying to get them to come on and do a presentation. They have a bunch.
I was talking to Tiffany today, actually.
She promised to give me a presentation this month, but I wasn't able to get in touch with her. So they've got all sorts of classes over there. I think that many of our nonprofits need to take, as Dr. Latimore said, some of these reports, it's just the kind of money that we're granting. People at least need to know how to do reports and those kind of things. So I think it's just important. I think as we move through this process, we'll improve a lot of stuff that has not been in place. I just think we just need to give all of these committees and what we're doing from this point in time to come together. But I think that we're moving in the right direction. I deeply appreciate what everybody is doing. So, with that in mind, we need to be cognizant of the fact that we need to start dealing with people who are professional enough to handle the kind of money that this committee is granting or coming through our hands and going to folks. We need to be a bit more professional. And I think that'll happen over time.
Yeah, I think so too. And just so you know, I know Tiffany had a couple of deaths in her family, so she's been a little out of pocket. But when I speak to her tomorrow, I'll remind her to reach out to the committee so that she can do the presentation, because I think what she has to share and the improvements they've made to their programming for support for nonprofits will be tremendous. And they're also having a virtual place where nonprofits can go, like a center where they can have access to the internet, meeting areas, and mailboxes and that sort of thing. So they have some additional resources they've added to their programming, which is outstanding.
Yeah, I knew something was wrong. She was more than willing to do the presentation, and all of a sudden she kind of dropped off the map. So that's glad to know.
Yeah, that's what happened. All right.
Yeah. Okay, and then we have our legislative branch. Dr. Patterson, Delegate Valderrama, Delegate, who am I missing? Delegate Turner. One of the things that we have been doing, we were working on from the legislative branch, trying to repeal the whole harmless. Of course, that has changed drastically. It gives us a little bit more money, but Senator Patterson and the delegates have been working quite focusedly in attempting to do that. And of course, things change with that. The money now comes off the top. which gives us a bit more money to work with. We had $500,000 for grants last year, and I believe it's over 800,000 going into next year. So we've seen some change with that. So we're excited about that. Also, we had talked about, and this is one of Delegate Turner's pets, in terms of expanding the 3-mile radius. She slapped me on my hand when I first got in here asking about the 3-mile radius. I mean, all I did was ask about it, and she took off and hit me with a baseball bat, punched me in the back of the head. She just did all kinds of things. I found out this is really a pet peeve and concern of hers. And of course, we can't do anything about it, but the legislative branch with Delegate Turner and Delegate Valderrama and Senator Patterson, if anything like that's going to happen, it has to happen with them spearheading to the state so that we can perhaps see something we can do to change that and expand the 3-mile radius. I would encourage all of you to become very, very familiar with the multi-year spending program and about where this money is going. 50% goes to the schools. I think we got a little over $8 million this year. If you look at it, just a little bit more than 50% went to schools. There are a lot of people in the area that think no money is going to schools when they talk about on neighborhood talent fences. There are a bunch of complaints that we've been hoodwinked by MGM and no money is going to the schools and those kind of things. And we really have to educate the public on what's going on. That's where I think the website comes in and what Rashida and her team are doing so that we can begin to really get the message out about where this money is going and what's happening with it. Basically that's it. So also, nonetheless, Mr. Patterson, Senator Patterson and Delegate Turner have something to add to that. They are the legislative branch, and if any changes are going to come, it will have to come through them spearheading and going to the state to try to get the necessary support that we need in order to make some changes down here. Senator Patterson, Delegate Turner.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if there is a certain subject matters that the LDC would like for those of us in Annapolis to follow up on, we like to get that in writing from the council as a whole, indicating that they are on board in support of it to make a request, whatever it might be. If it's taking a look at the 2-3 miles versus some other number, then we'd like for that recommendation to come from the LDC to those of us in Annapolis so we can go in with support from the council. We need that sometime pretty soon because we are doing what we call pre-filing bills now. You get your bills in early, guarantee you get a public hearing on them before what we call the halfway mark, which is 45 days after session opens. So the sooner the better. But the other thing that you mentioned about the hold harmless, we did get that corrected, and now those monies are not taken out of our local impact funds as they have been over the years. That was a major, many year fight trying to get that done, but finally it's written into law that those monies would come from the general funds of the lottery system and not specifically from our local impact fund. So we're happy about that. So just know that we are there to represent you. You don't have to write the bill. If it's a thought or strong suggestion, you can give that to us, and then we will submit it to legislative services, and they will do the research analysis and all that kind of stuff. So I want to just let you know that.
Okay. So question on the do we have a sunset clause on the whole harmless?
We had one there before, but it was 30. I think it was 35 or something when it was expired. Now that we've changed it, I did not see a sunset on it. I'll go back and revisit. I got a copy of the bill someplace around here where it was changed this last session. I would hope not, because then we would be going back to where we just left. If we put a sunset on it.
Okay.
I hope that's not the case because both Maryland Live and even Horseshoe, in spite of the COVID-19, they have done quite well.
Yes.
Yeah, they haven't lost a dime since it started, to be
I
very
always
honest
say
with
that,
you.
but that's true.
They ain't lost no.
I mean, they're
Yeah,
taking the
they
money.
done quite well.
Yeah, they taking the money. I went on to the website and not Baltimore, but Anne Arundel. The
Maryland.
money that they are
Maryland
giving,
Live.
the money that they're giving up in grants is absolutely amazing. And every time I go to their site, I notice that whole harmless money, they're getting from us. But I mean, they're giving up $1 million awards to the police department. And
But Mr.
oh,
Chair,
say it
the way
again.
the way they have so many dollars, they get 5% of both table and slot machine. We have just been getting our percentage from the slot machine, where the largest portion of monies come from the table.
Tables.
And that rests with the county in terms of whether or not they want to do just one or both, or a percentage from one. But somehow we got started with just monies from the slot machines.
Well, would that take any kind of change from you guys to submit anything on
That
that?
would probably, that basically rests at the hands of the county executive and her folks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
So we need to talk to the county exec, huh?
We can start there, because then if she think it needs to be legislated, then we can take it. But I would certainly think we need to go there.
Okay. Well, I was at her picnic just recently. The next one she gives, I'll make sure I'll get in her ear on that. We'll talk about that. Now, Delegate Turner.
Yes.
As far as the radius is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a preference on that radius?
I think it needs to be expanded. We're supposed to go back and look at that. When we start, I fuss about that 3% from the beginning when they did that. And I wanted it to expand it. And now is the time now to expand it now with these lines being drawn. Everything is being different now. I want to expand it at least 5. At least just, I know we can start with little steps, If it's just 3, let's go up a little bit, 2 more, around, maybe to 5, you can push it to 6. I would be happy. The thing is that I think it needs to be changed. We've been there long enough. We tried it. It worked. We helped them get other places, give them money. And the grants, like you said, the other places are giving now big grants. Okay, let's relook at our expansion now to see if we can put more people, on get these grants and help more of the community. Let me tell you, January is going to be here for it. And if we're going to make some new changes, we need to make the changes now. As the senator said, we're doing pre-filed bills. If you think that there is something that that we need to do up in Annapolis, we need y'all voices now. We are your voice. We are y'all voice. And you got 3 of us, 3 powerful people that will really stand up for the LDC and our community. So
Okay.
I'm just letting you know that it can be done.
All right, Delegate Turner, Ryan just put in the chat while you were talking that we don't need legislation to make these changes. This is up to the local development council.
Okay, then is we dragging our feet or what, baby? What's happening?
Okay, so what we need to do is, to have some discussion on how best to do that. Like you said, we'll take small steps and begin with larger steps. So let's do, instead of 3, let's do 4. And then we'll do 5, and then we'll do 6. We'll do what we need to do. But I think we need to have a meeting specifically on how we want to do that, since if it's up to us to do it, then I think we need to put at least some thought into it, and not do it haphazardly.
Okay.
And then kind of go from there. So we can, as Ryan just said, we can draw up maps and see how that looks, and just get everybody's participation in that. And then the types of grants that we want to give out. Now, the other side of it is the $800,000 that we're getting next year. Does that all have to go to grantees? Can we start doing something else with the money, like beautification and those kind of things? There was a company that I talked to, a nonprofit that were putting on windows, doors, roofs, those kind of things in properties that qualified, that were in need of improvement. Can we do that kind of thing with some of this money? Those kind of things, and anything else that Kevin and his team will come up with respect to how we can meet needs outside of the $50,000 grant per se, and doing something else. We've got a lot of homebound people who need food deliveries and those kind of things. So it's just so much more than people coming in here and dictating to us what they want to do as a nonprofit, just to get their hands on $50,000 or whatever we award. And next year you don't see them anymore, So and I thank God for the needs committee, because Takeisha and Dr. Latimore, they are really doing a great job with this. And I think that we will find in the next year or two that we'll hone this thing down to getting some professional kind of reports back and those kind of things. But I think we really need to consider all of that. So I think at our next meeting, if everybody can come up with an idea of what they want to see as far as expansion is concerned, and then we can kind of go from there. Then we'll provide the letter to our legislative branch with respect to getting some changes done on hold harmless, and I'll catch the county exec and see if we can't get her to consider letting some of that money go so that we can do some other things. So we'll talk about that.
And sorry, Pastor Robinson, I'm glad you brought it up. I've been trying to chat this, but it's only set where I can chat directly to Ryan. So anyway, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that in terms of the expansion, making sure that the needs committee piece is definitely a part of that, because I can imagine that what the needs are within this 3 mile radius could be very different, could look very different once we start expanding out 3-4 miles. So just making sure that we're taking that into consideration.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
Mr. Chair and members, the one thing that handicap us versus some of the other sites, we can only go out front in terms of reaching 3 miles. Because if we try to go 3 miles behind MGM, we in the Potomac River.
In Virginia.
Into DC. So we are somewhat limited by the mere fact that we sit on the Potomac. That's not to say we need to expand it. I just thought I'd put that on the table. The other thing is that in the Senate bill 2012, I think it specifies the areas of which and how those funds are supposed to be used. They list the categories, but that doesn't mean that we can't change them. Okay, I just want to share that with you.
Okay. I think we could probably, for instance, do a 5 mile radius and cut it at MGM, and just an expansion out of Half Moon or something in order to be able to accommodate that. But we'll take a serious look at that and kind of go from there. I think that would be a great idea that we do that. And the final thing that I have is out of all these committees that we have, we need to develop SOPs for each of these committees. We don't want to have happened to what happened to us last year, when we lost 5 people all at the same time, and it just left us in a real mess. And then all of a sudden we lost, a cornerstone to everything we're doing. I thank God for Miss Nicole. She's doing a great job, and just not trying to press her real hard, and just trying to bring her on just a little bit at a time. But she's doing a great job, and we want to acknowledge you, Nicole. Thank you for being with us this evening. I know that you were, when we voted on staying home rather than coming together, yours was the first vote to say stay home. So we're excited about that, but we're just glad that you're here, and want you to understand that. So I think we need to all, Nicole, this is an assignment I'll give you. You can reach out to the heads, and what we need to begin to do is to develop SOPs for each one of these divisions. I think that'd be very wise for us to do. The final thing that I have is we opened the American Job Center on yesterday. We had Walter Simmons, we had the Lieutenant Governor, the Labor Department was there. I mean, it was a real big show. The county exec was there. They gave her an award for, and actually not an award, but they named one of the rooms after the county exec. And they have done an absolute marvelous job. If you get the chance, if you just happen to be going shopping at Tangier, just walk in and act like you know and own the place, and just let them know that you the person that's financing that particular department. They'll let you right in and treat you real good. So, but go in there and see what they've done. It's absolutely fascinating what they've done to that space and the equipment and the things that they have in there. You will be literally overwhelmed with what they have done to that. Walter Simmons has done a great job with that, and we are excited that money is coming out of MGM. I think they get about just a little over $400,000 for the next 3 years, each year for the next 3 years. So go see what the money is doing. If you know people that are looking for work and that kind of thing, they've got all sorts of stuff over there. I'll come back next month with the types of things that they're doing in there to bring us up to speed. And that's something else, Rashida, that we want to get on the website. I forgot to get, there were pictures taken, but I forgot to get pictures of us and those of us who showed up at the county exec, and just to start to put that kind of stuff on the webpage. So I think we're moving pretty good, and I just appreciate everybody's help with this. We have a couple of people online. Mr. Lewis, we haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing well. How are you guys doing? Thank you for having me.
We're doing fine. Do you have anything that you need to report from MGM?
I do not. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the outing yesterday. Been traveling back and forth to our corporate headquarters, so I apologize for that. I just want to say thank you guys for all the hard work that you're putting into the LDC. Great things that I'm hearing to report back to the executive team, so I just appreciate all of your efforts.
Okay, I was hoping that perhaps at some point in time, Mr. Lewis, you can make some arrangements for the team to get a tour and maybe a free lunch, a free dinner, and a free breakfast.
You know what, Pastor Robinson, I can do that. Absolutely. So why don't we do this? Let's connect offline. We'll get some dates together where the majority of the team, they'll be able to get out and see the property, and we can put that together. How does that sound?
I appreciate that. This is not a twist of the arm or anything, but I got that from Senator Patterson and Veronica Turner and a few other people, Mary Navies. There's a lot of people that suggested that to me. So it's like, I'm not trying to twist your arm or anything, but I thank you for that. So we're looking for maybe just having some fun. I think one of the things that we need to do, we've been separated for so long that we need to connect. We simply need to connect. That's happening even with my church. People are falling off. It's like tying a rope on a limb and squeezing it so tight that everything dies on the other end. We're dying because we don't have that connection with each other. And I'm just looking forward to us trying to have some kind of connection. I was hoping to have a little fellowship. I talked to a couple of people about it here at my home in the backyard, and COVID hit and we couldn't do that. But I'm just concerned about connecting. Even with church, when we finish on a Sunday morning, we have a socialize, we socialize after service, after the benediction, just cutting up and having fun and trying to stick together. And I'm a jokester from the heart. I get to joning on people. The pastoral robe comes off and I get to talking about you. I get to doing the dozens with you and having fun. I think it's just important that we connect. Please keep that in mind, that we connect. I don't know what you're doing other than that, connect with whoever you're connecting with, but this thing is causing a lot of problems, a lot of depression, a lot of concerns that are going on, and we need to connect. So that's why I wanted to reach out to Mr. Lewis on that. So I'd love it for all of us to get together and be able to do that, have the two and sit down and have some lunch or some dinner, some breakfast or whatever. So please keep that in mind. And I owe Dr. Paler. I just owe her. I haven't been talking to her. I owe her. So I want to have her out to the MGM for lunch and make her think I paid for it.
To come back to your question, we had 11 grantees that we awarded. Yeah.
Okay, so we got 9. We're missing 2.
And Pastor Robinson, may I?
Yes, Ms. Hurd.
Yeah, so I'm Portia Hurt and I'm policy director at Employ Prince George's. I work under Walter Simmons, and I just wanted to extend my thanks to the Local Development Council. Thank you all for coming out yesterday. Thank you all for all of your support over the last couple of years. It was a great event yesterday. As many of you know, it was a fantastic event. We had a lot of support. I think that the center is going to do a lot of good in South County. It's going to do a lot of good for that area, for our residents. And I'm looking forward to just all of the positive that is going to come out of that partnership with Tanger. A lot of you were there and you heard the manager of Tanger said that the only people more excited than we were the businesses in the outlets. So the businesses are excited, the residents are excited, we're excited. So I think it's going to be really fantastic. So thank you all again.
70, I think they had 70 businesses in Tangier.
Not 90, sir. 90.
And what they were saying was the training would be in retail, of course, and those jobs or those vacancies, I think the gentleman mentioned that they had one manager doing 3 or 4 stores.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's all sorts of openings that can be filled right out of the job center. So we're excited about that. And then, of course, there are needs for jobs at MGM. So I think that this is really going to be a blessing for South County. Looking forward to that. And Portia, if you have any pictures, I'd love to have you to share them with Rashida. Rashida, can you put your information in the chat? And we'd love to have you to share those with Rashida so that we can start uploading some of the information on.
Sure. I think Ryan put some in the chat, but I can definitely connect you with like the EPG. We took tons of pictures, so we'll definitely, I'll definitely send you some, Rashida.
Yeah, I'd like to get a hold of some of those.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Madam Vice Chair, you have anything that you?
You know what, I wanted to just circle back for one moment on the 3-mile radius and just, and you probably already know, what are the other casinos doing? What is the radius that they're using? And maybe the benchmark for us.
Okay, I mean, it's no need, of course, there's absolutely no need in us trying to reinvent the wheel. Anywhere we can steal something good from, I'll go get it. But I haven't I think that the last time I was on, I think what I saw was the 3 mile radius with Anne Arundel. I don't know if any, I don't know if Maryland Live or, I mean, Horseshoe, whatever, I don't know what they're doing, but I think we can just, I don't want to just copycat somebody just for the sake of copycatting and say we have a different radius without understanding what the impact of that's going to be. So I think we just need to look at that, but we do need to expand because I'm getting tired being slapped upside the back of the head by Delegate Turner.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the maps that Ryan is going to
Yes.
get for us is going to be very telling.
Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
there are different mile categories that different sites are using. I know in Garrett County, they're small little counties, so they use the whole county for impact area, okay?
Yeah.
And last time I looked at Maryland Live was running all the way out to the airport because they were making grants 10 and 12 miles away.
Mhm. Well, I mean, you know, at some point in time, Indiana doesn't have the impact that you would think it would have. I mean, this was about the immediate mitigating concerns in the immediate area. But
I mean, I didn't say that to say we needed to expand it. I just wanted to share
yeah.
the vice chair's question that.
I just think we need to consider.
I don't think we should get too carried away.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Vice Chair?
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, before we go to public comments, do we have anybody else from the LDC with some input?
Pastor Robertson, may I say one thing?
Yes.
About the grant? I'll make it real quick. One of our grantees is doing something with the doorbells. And because of so much domestic violence in Prince George's County, and it's sad, a lot of the elderly are not willing to take advantage of some of the doorbells because they feel some type of retribution. So I thought that that was a sad piece, but that grantee did partner with the community and the police, and they started up groups and virtual groups for the elderly to try to reinforce the fact that having that type of security is important. But I think that that's one example of where a grantee was really trying to do or have an impact on the community, but in response, retrospect, crime and a lot of the domestic violence is scaring some of the elderly. So I thought that was worth mentioning too, because that has risen in a lot of areas, states and counties.
Well, not only that, but the technology is intimidating to a lot of elderly folks. It's intimidating.
Yes.
They don't know how to use the technology, those kinds of things. So it's an education process. We can talk to people like South County Roundtable where, you know, when you're in those meetings, you see, you know, a lot of elderly people participate in those kind of meetings. They're concerned about what's going on in the community, that kind of thing. But you can assume that a lot of the technology is truly intimidating to the elderly. So we need to take a look at that. That money that you're talking about, that's some of the money that's coming back. So but there are a couple of other conditions that went on with that money being returned, and we'll just leave that right there. But it's just important for us to understand that. So we, Delegate Turner, I'll give you a call offline and we can have some discussions, since that is a major concern of yours, as to how far we need to go. And then we will take into consideration Vice Chair's comments on what we need to do about that and how to go about doing it. So with that in mind, Ryan, do we have anybody with public comments this evening?
I don't see anyone from the public in the meeting, so no.
Okay, this has been a good meeting. This has been a real good meeting, and we can, as we always do, entertain a motion to adjourn with the exception of Delegate Turner and Senator Patterson.
I think we got to put some legislation in.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Miss Colbert, do you have anything that you'd like to say to us?
I'm sorry. No, I'm great. I just wanted to participate, and I'll take the information back to Chris.
Now, if I were in church right now, the Bible says he who desires friends must first show himself friendly. So that's why I reached out to you. I don't know who's on the phone, but we want you to know that we are aware of your presence, and we thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Nicole, I'm gonna give you the last word since Nicole is the one that controls things. We want to give her the last word and just want to acknowledge her and let her know how proud we are of her for the work that she's doing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for basically holding my hand and walking me through the process of joining the team and getting to know everyone. I do look forward to meeting everyone in person. But until then, I just pray that you guys have a lovely evening.
Yeah. You were the one with the highest vote, not to meet, not to come together physically. We do remember that. We just want you to know how much we love you and how much we appreciate you, and thank you for all the work that you do. I'm going to go ahead and go with an exception this evening with that threat that the senator made. We'll go ahead and ask the senator and ask the delegate if they would not mind making an motion in a second that we adjourn this evening.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes,
I just want a reminder. I just want a reminder that in our next meeting, we will get the Zoom and the code. Please don't forget to send that out so we make sure that we get on to this Zoom call next month.
Mm-hmm. I think it just went out a little bit too early. That's all, and it just dropped in the hole there, and we all lost it. I think that's all it was. I think we probably need to start putting it out a little closer to the time that we should be meeting. And I think that's all that happened. I think Ryan put it out just being proficient, and it just got out there early, and I forgot it, to be very honest with you. I was looking for it, finally found it, but I asked Nicole to put it out again.
I got it.
Yeah, so I think that's all that happened. We just proficient with what we're doing, and we've been off for almost 2 months. So,
right.
I think it just kind of slipped through the cracks. I will be talking to Mr. Lewis so that we can get together as soon as that's possible, and we can kind of go from there and have some fellowship. I will take a motion from Delegate Turner.
So move.
And the second from Dr. Patterson.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Ayes have it. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. Have a great evening. And
thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Y'all have a great one.